Alright, so we're live. Hello, hello. Hope your day's going well. Let me move this here. Also, I want to say something immediately because I felt really bad about it. Let me hold on just a minute here. So hello and welcome. Hope your day's going well. First thing I want to say is there's a woman on the internet that I've been spending a lot of time paying attention to, and she's very sweet, and I think I may have upset her. Which I didn't mean to do. I shouldn't be laughing, but I didn't mean to do that. My mind, I kind of don't see it. I really like her though. It's not that I shouldn't say don't see it. I didn't know how she felt, and now I realize she might have felt in a way that I didn't know or understand, and I kind of just feel really bad now. Didn't mean to make her feel like I took her for granted or anything like that. It's very sweet. So pretty too. Holy smokes. Holy smokes. Yeah. I didn't know. Yeah, I don't know what she thinks, how she feels. But I got a sense of something, and I don't know. I think I should probably talk to her. Let me hold on a second here, clean this. It's great. As soon as you turn the stream on, great time to clean. But yeah, so to return to, we'll keep that mostly private, mostly personal though. I don't want to, only because she might see this. I don't know if she will, but she might, and if she does, I don't know. I guess she's on my mind. Oh, excuse me. Anyway, so to return to what we were doing, let's do that. Got this currying here. So that's kind of it, right? We just get right into it. I waste so much time, man. I got home 2.5 hours ago. Well, I shouldn't say waste time. I mean, no, I spend it very specific ways. I wouldn't say it's wasting it. Write a function that accepts a curried function of unknown arity n. Return an equivalent function of n arguments. You may wish to read this. This probably explains currying. Yeah. So those of you who are wondering what the heck is currying, the idea is like, let's say you have some function that's like x plus y, right? Just quickly explain currying. And it's a two-variable function. So you get this two variable function. Well, you could write f of x for some y equals 5, which would be equivalent to f of x 5, where for this, if you use this function and input 5, you can get this function, which is f of x plus 5. And then you can even go further and say just f of no arguments could be, 5 plus 5, which is f of 5. Currying basically replaces one of the variables with an input. That's the idea. Which you can do in a strictly functional programming language, because all of your whatever input you always have the same output. So in theory, you can just replace an input, and your function will operate exactly the same, just with one less variable. And it'll operate the same, but it'll be you can use it in that sort of functional way, and have one less variable to work with. So, function that accepts a curried function of unknown arity n, return equivalent function of n arguments. May wish to read this. F of n a, f of n b, f of n c, f of n d, a plus b plus c plus d. 1, 2, 3, 4. So, you want the same function? Unknown arity n. I mean, does this work? This is kind of cheating. This is not what they want, I think. Okay. Okay. Just curious. Identity takes something and returns it right back. So you could get this function and return it right back. So this is a curried function. You want to decurry it. Okay, I mean, I guess you do something like this. Partial functions. I think I know what to do here. Oh yeah, we already did our palindromic sequences here. Yeah, that was something, man. That was something. Ooh, excuse me. Oh. The thing I want to do now is to decurry. Take me away to place I've never known. Take me away to a peace I've never known. I think I only need one test case for this, realistically. This shouldn't take too much time. Take me away to a peace I've never known. Take a variable number of arguments. We don't actually know how many arguments we need to take. Well, yeah, I guess we do, huh? Mm. not entirely sure. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. I am not entirely sure what to do here. So the tail is empty. You're going to return. You're actually going to use this current argument. F. Yeah. So F of. Really, we don't need this. Well, yeah, I guess we do. Also, someone asked about using the REPL. I don't use it too much because it's kind of inefficient to constantly, like, these functions that I'm pushing into the REPL, I have to like constantly reload them in the REPL. When I make changes, it's kind of just not worth it in time. This doesn't really give me much more time. Some things I can use in the REPL, like small things, but for the larger things, compiling it each time seems to be the way to do it. Oh, this is wrong. It should be args. Can rename args here. I think this is fine. I kind of prefer to not have these two things happen. Rest of args or other args. It's better. And this should be not tail, but other args. I'm not even sure that, I'm not even sure if this is really necessary. It's just, it might be. True. Nice. Kind of curious. Yeah, I'll leave it. It's fine. I think this will work. You know, I think this is probably enough. I did not think of that. To reduce. You gotta be kidding me. Come on, man. I did not think of that. What did they do? It's a function G args, and all they had to do was reduce over. Oh, jeez. F initially args, and then just a simple. Come on, man. Should have been even easier, I think. I guess. Even easier than that. How goes everything, brother? Hey, how's it going, UKK? Welcome back. Hello, hello. How are things? How are you? Welcome, welcome. All is well. Things are going well for me. There was a woman that I was interested in. I'm still interested, but something tells me that she was a lot more interested in me than I realized, and I think it's good. But I'm a little bit. I feel kind of bad. How I learned is I think I may or may not have upset her. I may or may not have hurt her feelings. Not even realizing I did it. Good myself, holidays. Sorry, I know I just kind of jumped right into that. Holidays, yeah, man, holidays. It's coming up. It's coming up. Very good. Very good. Christmas. Did you go out with her? No, I didn't. I think she was expecting me to ask her out, though. And I think she was disappointed because I was talking about asking her out, let's say. And definitely like her. Definitely should ask her out, I think. She's really, really sweet. She's really nice. And she likes steak, which I was thinking I should take her to go get steak. It'd be a good time. She really likes steak, which is cool. Yeah, should do that. Nervous, man. Nervous. Terrified. I'm actually terrified. I think I gave her this impression like I have loads and loads and loads of cash, and I don't. I'm actually like kind of, my track record is I'm kind of terrible with money. As it turns out, I'm improving, I guess, slowly, but yeah, I'm not as good as I purport myself to be. How'd you meet her? Online. Online. Yeah. Maybe we shouldn't go into too much detail. Maybe we shouldn't go into too much detail. But because I'm kind of embarrassed. Kind of embarrassed how it all went down. It's not the most I don't know. It's not the most how do you express that? Conventional, maybe. Also, maybe not the most. I'm like not the most. Maybe not the most. I don't even know how to express it. Yeah, I'm not too proud of what I did. Not that I should be proud. Is she religious? No. is kind of one of the reasons why I was talking about, like, potentially not asking her out. Because I'm really concerned about it. Like, probably more than I should be. But I'm more concerned about, like, I don't know, like a compatibility and what she thinks of me, and, you know, what I may have, the image of me that I may have given her might be something that I can't really attain reasonably as much as I think I, you know, there's like my hopes, dreams, ambitions, and fantasies and stuff, which I often act as if these things are within my grasp, when in real reality, like, these things could be completely out of my grasp. And I don't know, I get this feeling like maybe she thought, you know, that I, you know, a bit larger than life, larger than who I am, really. And that terrifies me. And then also, you know, her personal, I mean, the things about her I like a lot. I mean, really like a lot. Things about her that I would like to bring to her attention, and I'm going to pray to God that she understands. But that's kind of another thing. It's like, but being realistic, like any woman you meet in the world is going to be, you know, it's going to have things about her that you don't particularly like just bottom line. But yeah, I'm definitely concerned about that. Excuse me. But I don't think she'd be against. Excuse me. I don't think she'd be against religion. That's the thing. It's like I don't think she's. You know, she's definitely impressionable, extremely impressionable, which also terrifies me because I don't want to be responsible for like messing something up. You know, like giving her, you know, damaging her worldview or like hurting her or something, or corrupting her in some way, some awful thing. I think about that too. It terrifies me with other people, like not even just her, but just humans have a tendency to mimic each other, and they sort of, I don't know, they sort of like become one like the other. And I mean, I'm walking with God now, I guess, I suppose, something like that. So, I guess it's not bad if she gets to be more like me. And is it okay for me to be more like her? Some aspects of her, certainly. Some aspects I'll have to watch out for. Although I've got kind of a lot of discipline over the years, so I think it's the negative things won't wear on me as much as the positive things I think would, and vice versa. Although I have to be extremely careful and responsible, not be, you know, there's sort of this idea of being Christ-like, to be God-like, to be sort of have infinite patience. And I definitely need to practice that, especially with her, in particular with her, because you don't want to damage your relationship. Really don't want to do that. Yeah. Thank you for asking. Yeah, I know. A while back, I was saying like, oh yeah, I gotta find a woman who's she's got the whole list of things, religious and virgin and this and that and all this stuff. And this girl's pretty good. She's pretty good. She actually checks off quite a few of those boxes, which I'm like kind of floored by. Like really impressed by that. Yeah, she's real sweet. Anyway, sorry. I shouldn't keep yammering on about this. But how are you? How are things? I mean, I think we already asked that, right? I don't know what to talk about. I don't know what to say. I haven't got an update from you in a while, though. It's been a bit. Job's going well, I suppose, and I guess I should ask if the job is going well. And then what else? What else to update on? Were you one of the fellas? Should ask her out. Yeah, I think I should. I agree. I should do that. There's no harm in that, right? No harm in that. I don't know what could go wrong. I don't know what could go wrong with her. She's great. But in theory, it's like, well, if it doesn't work out, which I don't foresee that, then you can always pray to God again. Good man, job's nice, still dating the girl, met her parents. Nice, hallelujah, hallelujah. So good, so good. Yeah, that's going good. I'm glad to hear you still. It's 2 years still dating. It's very positive. Nice people all around. Yeah, the job's good. Yeah, all right, good, very good, very good. Glad to hear that. That's like, it's very positive. Like that's really good. That's really good. Did you say that you're a Christian? I'm curious, to kind of change the subject a little bit. Well, it's not completely, but I wanted to talk about, like, I'm really glad to hear that, especially recently a friend of mine, I found out he's addicted to heroin, or at least he was. I don't know if he still is. I get this impression that he still is. I don't think he really kicked the habit. And it was a friend that I grew up with when I was a lot younger. We spent a lot more time together, and we kind of drifted apart as the years waxed on. And I felt just like, I don't know, not like I felt guilty, but I just felt like I should see him. I don't know if I should have apologized to him about not seeing him over the years. I don't know if that's something you really apologize for. It's like, well, you kind of just drifted apart. But definitely we're friends. We're really good friends when we were younger. Yeah. He was very kind to me, his family. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Oh, yeah. Awesome. I'm kind of curious, like, I don't know, like, I don't know what to talk about, but I kind of want to ask, like, how's your walk in Christ coming along? How's the faith treating you? How's battling with sins? That's something it's a daily struggle for me, man. It's so hard. It's so hard. Literally, right, I've come to understand that, like, you have to pray to God for help. You need supernatural help, not to sin. And I agree with that 100%. Although I'll tell you what, if I were to ask this girl out, this woman, I shouldn't say call her girl, woman out, and this woman makes it sound like I probably shouldn't even. I don't want to frame it in a way that's like not exactly what I want, something like that. But I tell you what, she would, her on my mind would help me a lot with this lust stuff, because that's what you're supposed to be doing. Is you're supposed to be not lusting after women that come into your mind because you're going to have a wife, right? And someone like her on my mind, that would just kind of make all those thoughts disappear, which would be great. I would appreciate that. it's a burden that would be relieved of. And I imagine you maybe you had a similar experience. I guess I don't know. I don't know what it's like. It's been like for you, but it's definitely been really difficult trying to. Well, yeah, not give in to temptation, right? Your own thoughts. But yeah, it's but it's been going all right so far. I'd say so far, as far as like not giving to temptation. Definitely difficult though. Extremely difficult. Yeah. Well, impossibly difficult, right? Without God's help. But yeah, that's what I talked to my friend who this friend of mine who was having a hard time, and talked to him about the faith. Tried to share the faith with him. Girl will keep you busy and grounded. Yeah, right, exactly. That was another thing too I learned or thought about that I wonder if you have any opinion on this idea of like give you a more positive outlook. Yeah, extremely positive. I mean, I'd be so happy. I'd be ecstatic. Because it's kind of ironic, like the outlook that I have is bleak and negative largely because I feel like I'm supposed to have children, but I'm like struggling to come close to that. Also, let me just type this in while we're doing this. Hold on, we're talking. It should be. It's. I think it's literally this. Is this the solution? This was it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm like almost embarrassed that I didn't really see this. I used a proper loop for this, but I could have used what they have here. Also, it's partial. No, I'm not sure why. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, look at that. That doesn't really matter. Wait a minute. That's an interesting solution. Hold on. I prefer this one. I think this makes it a little more easier to understand. The partial thing that he's got going on there is a little bit kind of confusing. What's happening here? It's like this function, and then we're reducing over x with something, which I guess defaults to oh, the first value. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, this will take the first element of this thing, and it will reduce on that. So the first element is the function, and if you use partial, oh, well, that's very interesting. So because you get a function, this returns a function that does this. If you partial, this is still the same. Oh, that's very interesting. Wow, that's kind of cool. Oh, that's clever. This, if you partial this, it's still the same function, except you bound whatever the first argument is to this guy here, which will end up being the first argument here, which is the first thing that gets processed. Oh, very interesting. Clever. I like this better though, still. Even so, I still prefer these ones. Anyway, moving on. Sorry. Come back to what we were talking about here. Oh yeah, I wanted to say something that I'm curious what your opinion is on this. Is So I lost 10 grand trading, right? I made 2,500 in like a couple weeks, and then I took a really risky bet, and then it wasn't even as risky as I thought it was. It was actually the original bet was fine. I just kind of like caved under pressure a little bit and lost a lot of money. Started like changing up my approach and sort of moving money around in a way that was really inorganic and unnatural and not really well planned. Started trading like in the opposite direction. Tried switching directions. Decided it's way more risk than it's worth, and ended up losing a lot of money. But the point was something like this. The point that I learned or heard about was, if you don't have a wife, you don't have children, right? And this is actually something my dad, when I was younger, used to tell me. If you don't have a wife, you don't have children, you can take on more risk, right? Because you can fall back on, well, no one is particularly dependent on me, so it's not like any, serious problems or consequences will occur if I take these risks. And I realized that over my lifetime, that attitude and that approach caused me to take wild risks with my time and with my money and with like my resources, to the point of like I didn't, because my compass was broken, basically. You sort of have a compass that guides you through life in terms of your decision-making matrix, we'll call it. And it was broken because I'm sitting here thinking I could take whatever risks I want because I don't have a wife and kids and a family and all of that. And I can just, go nuts with in terms of taking risks. But the reality is, more likely than not, if you have that compass, it's going to say, don't take these ridiculous risks, right? And more likely than not, you'll end up even probably doing better on average, because you won't feel like you could just lose anything, right? Because if you feel like you could lose anything, you just might, you probably will, actually, not just might, you probably will. And that's exactly what happened to me in terms of my life, in terms of my time, how I ended up spending my time. I didn't realize it, but I would watch loads of live streams with women, like just watching them, just spending that time, which is really just a waste of my time, really. I didn't really hunt for a job super hard, the past, I'd say like 5 years, I really never hunted very hard. It was only one time I really hunted very hard, and that was like a couple of years back, and I'm still at the same job. And I've had bursts of like hunting kind of hard, but I usually just taper off very quickly, thinking like, oh well, I don't have a family, I don't really have anyone that I need to like worry about, so I don't really pursue it that much more. Then another one is what's the next one? It's the risks I took recently. Actually donating money to some of these women that very clearly I was not going to date anytime soon, nor was I going to marry anytime soon. And some of them even very explicitly said, like, oh, I'm not interested in marriage. It's like, right, I shouldn't have wasted my time, I shouldn't have spent my money. And we're talking, I spent probably $10,000 on stuff like that. And yeah, and I got addicted to video games at one point. And it's like, well, if I had this mindset of like, look, people depend on me, or they're going to, I can't be messing around with video games, right? Like I can't mess around with something that's not going to make money, it's not going to work. Or if it will work, it'll take way too much time and resources and all that to invest in it. So you could see like there's like a whole series of decisions of the past however many, and I took 6 years to finish my degree. I probably could or should have, what do you call that? I could have finished way sooner. I decided to take computer science and try to get into game development, game programming, which I was wrong to do that also because, and actually it would have saved me a ton of time because, well, first things first, like software development is oh man, it's like a monster in its own right. But it doesn't make as much money as you think. Like, it makes a lot of money, but you can make way more money way faster just like making YouTube videos. You know, like if you just want to make money, like I mean, yeah, okay, you're gonna be you could potentially be a billionaire. Excuse me. Building Amazon or whatever, one of these unicorn startups, but like the chances of that is proportional to the amount of money you make. So it's kind of like it almost doesn't really work out anyway. And two, yeah, I mean you could do a lot of other things that make a lot of money and probably more efficiently, more effectively, and not have to spend 6 years getting a degree. Which again, like that attitude, I was going slow, taking my time, largely because I wasn't thinking about that. Like well, actually, I kind of was a little naive too. At the same time, it's probably kind of I really should look at it as an excuse, but I did genuinely believe when they say like, oh yeah, we want 5 years professional experience for this job, that like that was actually honest assessment of like, yes, without 5 years experience, you wouldn't be able to do this. Meanwhile, I get into the working world and it's like, yeah, I mean, I don't want to degrade people that the experience is good, but as far as like the actual work that people do, it's kind of like probably could have just been trained for it, whatever it was, and the degree really is kind of irrelevant. So I'm like kind of going over my life's choices, and I'm thinking, actually, if I had been focused on finding a wife, raising children, like really focused, like laser focused on this idea, or even just had a girlfriend in high school, got married, and realized I got to provide and figure that one out, I'd be a different person right now. I probably wouldn't have any debt. I'd probably have a house. I'd probably have kids. I'd probably be like, I was at one point, I've probably mentioned this before, but I was suicidal for a period of time, and it's like, probably would not have been suicidal at any point, more likely than not. I'm sure it wouldn't have been easy, but it definitely would have been a different life, and I think probably better. And I think not only would I have a wife and probably kids now even, but I would have been better off too. Like all of those things in my life would have been improved. I would have probably had a better job. I probably would have had less debt. Probably would have had, because I could have when I finished school very quickly, I could have joined to become an actuary, and they get paid 6 figures. And I could have been an actuary very quickly. Like we're talking, exceedingly quickly. Could have done it way faster than 6 years. I mean, I probably could have had it done in 2 or 3 years. Because I like math. I'm super into math. I've always been super into it. Like I could have, and ultimately the programming that I do is just for money anyway. Like it's just how it is. And I've spent so much time messing around with stuff related to programming on the side that was not at all particularly fruitful in terms of like, progressing my life. I mean, it makes me a better programmer. That's great. But like, if I'm gonna just be programming just to make money, and like, I literally could just keep the job I have currently for the rest of my life and still probably provide enough for a family. It may not be super. What do they call that? It may not be super. What's the expression for that? May not be, I guess, extremely cushy lifestyle. We may not always have a ton of money, but we would do okay. Generally, overall, lifetime total, and I could invest the money too. Like it's not, I could go get a house, and I'll be in debt for 30 years, but I'll have a house, and then that's all you need for children is a home and a steady paycheck, and you're good. So it's very like, I mean, I think I lucked out. The grace of God. I feel like God like saved me. Despite my sins and my misgivings and all of that, but that definitely, I wonder what other people think about that. Like that idea of like, it's actually not a good thing that you don't have that kind of like buffer if you don't have wife and kids, you get this idea in your mind, and you live like that like, oh, you could take these wild risks, and you're most of the time going to be falling behind taking those risks rather than progressing. Because I felt like I was way behind in life. Like I was, past few years I've been like, what am I doing? What did I do? What happened? What's going on? And I think that may actually be part of the problem. Is actually I didn't have that mindset of like, not desperation, but like urgency, and like, like really much more focused sort of a mindset. On things that I know will give some kind of a return that's necessary. And I've been saying that I've been complaining about that really for a while now, where I'm like, oh yeah, I went to school, spent all this time there, and it was like, if I had gone and just worked and made 200 grand, I could invest it. I could have moved out somewhere where it's not too expensive to live, and so on and so forth. I mean, I could have done those things, and I would have done those things actually I would have done those things without knowing, without even making the mistakes that I made in my life. I could have already been on that path if I was pursuing a family, which is very interesting. But yeah, I'm sorry. I feel like I got this monologue going on here. I'm not letting you get like a word in on your thoughts about that. But I'm curious if you have any ideas or thoughts or notions, or if you ever heard that it's actually, this idea of, oh yeah, go take risks now because you don't have a wife and kids. It's actually not a good idea. That's actually a recipe for disaster, lifelong disaster. Also, with regard to like MGTOW, like MGTOW is very much in that kind of same vein, and I think it's actually a tremendous mistake. Like recently I was like, I thought MGTOW was a mistake, but now I'm thinking it's a really big mistake for those reasons. That it's like you gotta, what do you call that? You gotta curtail your risk taking. You're right. Guys who start families young do end up owning a home earlier. Really? Wow. They usually go into high-paying trade jobs. Right. There you go. Yeah, I probably would have done the same thing. My brother's actually making more money than me, believe it or not. I mean, granted, I got rejected from Google. I would have been making double what he's making now. But still, it's like, yeah. Now, if I'm thinking about it, right, I probably would have went into the trades too, something like that. I would have done something that was like, need to make money now kind of deal, sooner than later. And you see college guys getting drunk, smoking weed, not really working towards a job. Right, or like me, drowning themselves in their sorrows by using addictive things like video games or watching, female streamers or whatever. Just loafing. Yeah, right. Just kind of floundering about. Yeah. And I would say it's probably exactly the same thing, that they in their mind they're thinking the same ideas or similar ideas. I mean, probably a lot of things that they're got on their mind, but one of them is definitely this sense of urgency is lost. That, oh, I'm young, I can take risks, I can enjoy being young, and I can don't have to be super focused. Don't have to be extremely urgent. This urgency is lost on them. Which now for me, it's hitting me like a truck. It's like, oh man, oh. That's the other thing too with this woman that I've been thinking about a lot lately. I'm kind of afraid that maybe I'm rushing into things because I've got this kind of like overarching, like urgency and fear and like stuff. I kind of don't want to force it, and I don't want to ruin it, and I don't want to I don't want to like mess things up, I guess. I also don't want to, also if it's not right, maybe it's not right, I have no idea if it's right or not. If it's not right, I don't want to create something that's got to be undone later. Add to the problems rather than help solve them. Which I don't know how that could happen. I mean, again, I've definitely got my fears. Definitely have my fears. I don't know how that could happen, but I'm terrified given the experience I had with other women. I'm kind of like, oh boy, really gotta like just take it easy, go slow, just be real careful, real careful. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's scary, man. It's scary. Remember, what I mean by that is my own choices. I get like, I don't know. I get a little bit. Well, like I said, I'm afraid, and I'm literally afraid of what I might do wrong, or I don't know. I mean, I've got this walk with God now, right? So there's not really much I could do wrong. I think the main thing is to be infinitely patient. That's the thing, is to be extremely patient, painfully patient. That's the thing to do. I've been trying that lately with my family members, and that's been going pretty well. I had Thanksgiving where it was like I felt like it was just on the verge of absolute chaos, but it actually turned out to be very, very nice. And in my mind I was like, okay, whatever it is you're thinking about doing, be Christ-like. If it's not Christ-like, don't do it. And I calmed myself down, internally. No one even noticed, no one even knew it, but I was like you gotta get that peace, and that worked out well. It was really good. It's great. It's a fantastic Thanksgiving with the family, which I don't think we've had in years. I mean, literally, there hasn't been. I don't think I've had a Thanksgiving where there wasn't some kind of argument or animosity for probably 10 years, maybe even more than that, which is kind of a weird thing for me to say, and I'm saying it now because I hadn't even thought about that. That's yeah, that's really sad, man. That's terrible. But it's well, the Thanksgiving we had was good. I mean, I guess there was a little bit of animosity. My older brother and my mom are not talking. They're not on speaking terms, which is you could call that animosity. I don't know. I kind of put that out of my mind, given that he wasn't even there. So it was kind of like, but yeah, I don't know what to do about that. I gotta tell him that it is God's word, God's law. If you do not forgive them, then God will not forgive you. So I have to tell him that at some point. Remember to tell him that. I don't know when I'm gonna tell him that though. But yeah, I have to say, God's, strength from God to be infinitely patient is, it's great, man. It's great. And that was the other thing too with this woman. I gotta stop saying that. It makes it sound so it reminds me of, apologize. The woman that I've been thinking about, what is it? The woman that I've been thinking about, oh yeah, because I'm so, I'm all messed up about what I think about her and what I'm afraid. I was thinking I should just be patient, that seems to be the right answer. Just slow down, I don't need to jump on anything. I don't need to, surprise her or anything. I don't need to surprise in a negative way. I mean, I don't need to do anything I could just go slow. Just go slow. You know. Be patient. I think this is fine. It's good. It's fine. Although I think I made a mistake. I was talking about finding someone basically who wasn't her, and I think she may have got wind of that. I think it may have upset her. I don't know. I have no idea, but I didn't know what she thought about me. You know, I had no idea. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm not a mind reader. Not a mind reader. I guess I probably should have known. Probably, but did not mean to disappoint her. Anyway, sorry. I'm like, yeah. No, I felt kind of bad. Really felt bad because she was so like, I don't know, like sort of innocent thing. Now it feels like it may have ruined it. But yeah, I couldn't, to return back to what we were talking about with guys who were just getting drunk and not really working towards anything in life. That is so sad. My friends are like that. Friends back home are like that. One of them was working, has a girlfriend, has a house. Two of them, not him, but his two friends that were closer to him, lived with him in his house. He kicked them out because he wanted to move in with his girlfriend. He wanted his girlfriend to move in. Something like that. I don't know exactly what the context is, but basically they're out of a home, and he's going to move in with his girlfriend. But that makes me think of that. Like, they just kind of didn't do anything with their time. And man, we're old now. I mean, we're freaking way too old for that. Way too old to be just floundering around in life. All these friends of mine, they're all 28, 27, that age. Dang, man. Just dang. Behind in life. It's really sad. But that's, the gospel of Jesus Christ, right? I mean, it's like, it's amazing. I mean, there are things in the Bible you couldn't even imagine. Things about how to live your life. You would avoid so many problems that it's not obvious at all why following the Bible. I mean, actually, it's kind of dumb. It's actually really dumb. Like, I'll give you an example. It's like really like would floor you. So it's really obvious, actually. It's like, of course, now, not stealing, not lying, not killing, not committing adultery, and not what's the other one? Adultery, lying, stealing, murder, and not being envious. It's like, how could those things not be good to avoid? Like, how could it be good to do any of those things? Right? It's really dumb. It's really obvious, but that's something that kind of floors me about it. I was thinking about atheists. Atheists, they talk about like not believing in God, and there's no evidence for God, and there's this and there's that, and I kind of just, I want to, and there's a sort of this like intellectualism, quote unquote, associated with atheism. And it's funny to me because it's like, sin is so stupid, right? I mean, if belief in God is the antithesis of sin, or that's effectively what it is you're afraid of, you don't want to go to hell, you're afraid of God's wrath, you believe in God, you love God, you want to do good, and you want to love Him like He loves you, right? And you want to trust in Jesus Christ and repent of your sins and all of those things. All of that is about not sinning. I mean, that's basically what it boils down to. It's like, you're a helpless sinner, hopeless sinner, and you need supernatural help from God to help you stop sinning. You're not talking about hell, you're not talking about the Bible. Not talking about sin, you're not talking about, God. And it's like, so okay, so now we're an intellectual atheist and we don't believe in God, which if you understood God would know that implies you believe in sins, which it's so obvious to me that sins are just so dumb. Like they're just dumb. Like the dumbest thing. And let me give you an example, right? So like, we're talking about like Jesus saves lives, right? This kind of stuff here. So recently, this is a few months back now, but relatively recent, there was a news story that broke of a vehicle, a car, Porsche, nice car, that was found in a house. It was in the roof of the house. It was trying to enter the home through the roof. Apparently. Basically, as you might have guessed, they were driving way too fast on the highway, lost control, hit an embankment, and flew into a house. Second story, just right into the brick house. Probably killed them both instantly, the two kids. They're both like 22, 23, the two kids. And yeah, it was like a Porsche, and they died, and it's kind of comical because it's like it's tragic, it's sad. It's kind of comical because it's like it's just a heck of a way to go, Not to trample on the dead here, but not to laugh too hard. But yeah, it's pretty sad. But it does give you this sense of like Jesus saves lives in the sense of like, yeah. Technically, they made a promise to God and country that they were going to obey the speed limit. If they had kept their promise to God and country to obey the speed limit, that wouldn't have happened. So Christianity saves lives. Case in point, these atheists. It's like, what's an atheist going to say to that? Like, no, you shouldn't believe in God. You should just do whatever you want. It's like, atheists might say like, well, you should obey the law. It's like, right, but the whole point is that you need the supernatural strength of God to help you to do that, because it's extremely difficult otherwise. So yeah, how many atheists can say atheism saves lives? Like you can't, right? Like that's not true at all. It's only true in like this abstract, like, yeah, well, there were these holy wars, and if people were atheists, there wouldn't be holy wars, or some nonsense like that. It's like, no, but Jesus could have saved these lives immediately, if they came to Christ. So yeah, man, evangelizing, it's a matter of life and death, which you wouldn't think of it that way, but it is very much so. If you can convince people to come to Christ, and particularly the ones that are really far away from God, if you can convince them to come to Christ, it's got pretty serious value in this world, and the next. So excuse me, and I forgot, I actually was going to that was my timer to go to bed. I've been getting up at 5:30 a.m. each day now. And 5:30 a.m., get home at 5 p.m., and I make food. I've been making eggs and asparagus. Oh, I heard, we could leave this up together while you're watching. Asparagus smell. Does anyone know why? Why asparagus makes your urine smell? I heard that this has something to do with cleansing your body. I've been eating asparagus lately. Affects the urine with a photic smell. There's something inherently funny about making your urine more pungent. It's like It's like, why do you eat asparagus every day? I just want to mark my territory. It's got that extra kick. It's like, what? Huh? Chamber pot in a flask of perfume. I wouldn't say that. Flask of perfume. I don't know about that. Perfume may not be the right word. It makes your pee smell. Yeah, it does. It does. It does. But the question is why and what is happening to make that happen? And someone suggested to me that it's actually your body being cleansed. I thought that was amazing. Trying to convince the Academy to discover some drugs that would render the natural discharges of wind from our bodies not only inoffensive but agreeable as perfumes. Oh, this is Benjamin Franklin. Interesting. Even Benjamin Franklin was talking about this. That's so funny. Link all comes down to one asparagusic acid. Only found in asparagus. Bodies digest it, break down its chemical group of related sulfur-containing compounds, long, complicated names. As with many other substances, include sulfur. These powerful, typically unpleasant scent. You know what I can do? I can start selling my urine as never mind. I was not gonna say that. I was thinking you could sell it as a what's that called? Like a repellent, I don't know. No, never mind. It's not strong enough, the sulfur. Or what I can do is I can process my urine to get sulfur and then use sulfur for something. I don't know what I could use sulfur for. But they're volatile. Vaporize into the air and up to your nose. Oh, that's what's happening. So they vaporize and you smell it. Gross. So asparagus doesn't have the smell. But once you convert it to 15 to 30 minutes earlier. Holy smokes. And some people don't smell anything. Lack the ability to smell it, don't produce it in the first place. Maybe it's not good to be sniffing sulfur every time I go to the bathroom. I was thinking it'd be a good idea to eat asparagus, but now I'm thinking maybe I shouldn't be doing that. Huh. Single genetic mutation. Switched base pair among a cluster of 50 different genes that code for olfactory receptors. Still waiting for some enterprising team of scientists to have gene therapy to convert smellers into non-smellers. Cure blindness and breast cancer. Alright. Interesting. Cause of the smell. The Guardian. Is asparagus so maybe that actually doesn't sound good. Cleansing. Also Asparagus. Ugus? Ugus. It's asparagus cleansing. The health benefits, that's what I want to know. I want to know an aphrodisiac. Okay. Cleanse the urinary tract and neutralize excess ammonia, which can fatigue and cause fatigue and sexual disinterest. Interesting. So it neutralizes excess ammonia. Asparagine, chromium, insulin do its job, especially rich in glutathione, can destroy carcinogen. Interesting. Good for your ticker. High in vitamin K, blood clot. Amino acid homocysteine, too much of which can be serious. Regulates this. Health for heart regulation. 1 gram of fiber. Excess salt. Anti-inflammatory effects and high levels of antioxidants. Okay, that's good. But you know, spinach has a lot of these things too. Blood sugar, diabetes or low blood sugar. However, those with healthy levels can benefit. Oxidative stress. Improve insulin secretion. Improve beta cell function. Diabetes. Slow the aging process. 1998 article. Interesting. Folate. Cognitive decline. Older. Perform response. Mental flexibility. Skin. Sun damage and pollution. Interesting. Glutathione. Interesting. Natural diuretic. Excess salt and fluid, edema and high blood pressure, toxins in kidney and prevent kidney stones. Uric acid should avoid asparagus. On the other hand, people who are suffering from uric acid, kidney stones should avoid asparagus. Interesting. Well, I guess it's not cleansing your body. So I was thinking it'd be cool to like eat asparagus for a while, and then after a while it stops smelling. But that'll never happen because it's an acid inside the asparagus that's being turned into sulfur. So smell urine from here on out. Hey, marking my territory, all right? That's gotta let everyone know your turf. The sulfur. It's potent. Toxicity and diuretic studies, the roots. Wild in rats. Used in diuretic, validated, suitable. Utilizing 3 doses, diuretic activity, results no fatality even with the highest dose of significant diuretic activity. Dose, so showed diuretic activity without acute toxicity. Nice. What does diuretic mean? Diuretic meaning? Half the words I was reading on that I wasn't sure of. Causing increased passing of urine. Okay. I suppose that's good. Kidney stone fluids. Yeah, I pretty much only drink water. And I drink a lot of water. And I guess water and asparagus will help prevent kidney stones, which is good. I've heard kidney stones are brutal, like worse than giving birth, because it's like having a small baby out of your kidney, which sounds real painful. It's not made for that. At least the the womb is made for childbirth. The kidneys are not made for passing stones. Interesting. Stabilize digestion due to the high amount of fiber and protein that it contains. Move through the gut, provide relief from discomfort during digestion. Contains inulin, a unique dietary fiber. Prebiotic, does not get broken down and digested. There, it nurtures bacteria known to improve absorption, decrease allergies, and reduce the risk of colon cancer. I feel so healthy. Just reading this, I feel healthy. Typically associated with decreased risk of cancers. Polysaccharides found in asparagus inhibit dangerous liver cell proliferation, anti-cancer. Markedly suppressed liver tumor growth, prolonged survival time. Interesting. Phytonutrients called saponins are found in high qualities. I guess quantities is supposed to be. Helpful component in preventing secondary tumor formation. Risks. What are the risks of asparagus? Asparagusic acid. Not everyone can spell. It's pretty funny. Asparagus facts. Alright. So, I guess it's not true that that's the smell of asparagus cleaning your body. But asparagus is healthy anyway, so we'll stick to it. Keep to it. Anyway, I had to click there. Anyway, so I should get going actually. But all right, I was gonna say I found this out about asparagus that it cleanses your body and that's why it smells, but it's actually it cleanses your body and it smells. These two things not related to each other, or related but not really related, not directly related. So yeah, wanted to share that. Thought that was cool. And I've definitely been smelling the sulfur. I'm like, dang man, it's potent. It's potent stuff. Anyway, I'm gonna get going. I just wanted to stream a bit, and thanks you KK for popping in and saying hello. I do appreciate you coming by. Good night, brother. Yeah, thank you. Take care of yourself. You too. I'm glad to hear things are going well for you. And yeah, man. We didn't really talk about you too much, I think, but we could have. I suppose next time we will. I kind of yammered on a bit, but yeah, man, I appreciate you coming by and saying hi. Definitely good seeing you again. And yeah, take care, everyone. Take care, everybody. Have a good rest of your night. Adios.